Hey, it's Heather at Adventures in Gardening, and what if I told you that there was a way to have a beautiful, thriving garden with less work and less frustration? Would you want that? Everybody would, right? Well, today I am going to tell you my secret of how I garden a lot easier today than I did years and years ago. I'm going to give you the secret to my garden. But first, I need to go back a little ways and tell you the story of me and the garden. My name is Heather Thibault and I garden in Connecticut Zone 6, and I have been gardening for over 30 years, and on this property I have been gardening for 21 years. And when we first got here, there was a small flower garden in the backyard just a little bit ways that way. But mostly it was wooded, heavily wooded. Okay, so we spent a lot of time clearing, and after we cleared and selected and left some of the bigger trees, then all of the poison ivy and greenbrier and bittersweet and all of that kind of stuff kind of woke up, and we had to clear that as well. So it was a struggle at first. And so at that same time, I was having health challenges, okay? And what we thought at the time was autoimmune. I had heavy metal poisoning. And come to find out years later, it was Lyme and the Lyme co-diseases that were really plaguing me and giving me symptoms of like rheumatoid arthritis and Raynaud's and all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of health challenges, and the answer seemed clear at the time that I had to learn to take care of myself. Okay, I had to learn how to grow good, healthy food. So I had to figure that out. So so keep that in mind. That was my goal. I wanted to grow good, healthy food, and I knew at that time that the only way I was going to do that was to really be in control of it myself. So here we are, we put in our first, we cleared the land, just one challenge after the next. We put in the first garden, and I like to call that the miracle of the first garden year, okay? You have a great garden that first year because you're unlocking all of the nutrients that were in the soil, and the bugs don't know you're there yet, okay? So you have that really good first year, builds up your confidence, and then years after that, the bad bugs start to find you. But there's an imbalance. The bad bugs are winning, okay? So the key at that time, and I knew it at that time, was that I needed to bring in and have a very diverse group of critters to my garden. I needed all the bugs, all of the insects, all of the birds. I had to bring them to my garden to work together as a team. And it's not as easy as it sounds to get everybody to show up, okay? They're not on Facebook, and they're not scrolling saying, hey, come on over here. So all I can tell you is plant flowers. If you are in that phase of gardening where it is becoming a struggle and you don't want to use the sprays and the pesticides because you want good health, then you've got to start somewhere. Plant flowers, bring them in. It took me, and this might sound discouraging to some of you, okay? It took me years for all the good critters to show up to take care of the bad critters. But when it happened, man, it is a beautiful thing. It is the key to not being frustrated all the time in the garden. Now, you will never eradicate the bad bugs, and I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to show you some things in the garden in a little bit, but I'm going to talk about ways that I have learned to control the bad bugs without pouring poisons into the soil, onto my plants, and into me. I do not want that, okay? Now, this isn't going to be for everybody, and by all means, everybody gets to do what they want to do, but I am telling you, it is so much less frustrating once you get the good guys to go in and eat the bad guys. So who are the bad guys in the garden that show up? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you who they are, show you some pictures, that's what I've left this over here for, and tell you ways that I have learned to control them. Now, first of all, it is a bug-eat-bug world, all right? And there are times, even, I say bug-eat-bug, but even like Piper, my cat, she has a role to play in this garden as well. She is going to help to control things. And sometimes I got to look away, okay? Because I don't even want to see that. And you got to let it happen. You have to have that bug eat bug, critter eat critter world going on in the garden. And I have seen some wonderful things in this garden, and I have seen some pretty gruesome things in this garden. But all in all, it works together as this wonderful system. And that's what you want. You want to have a system in place so that if you're not out here every day, something is working for you. Every year is different. And every year something is going to have the upper hand. And then the solution to that is going to come in and take care of it. If you let it, okay? And I know everybody, what are you saying, Heather? You want me to just feed my all of my vegetable garden to the bugs and let them eat it so I have nothing? Some years it's going to feel like that, okay? But you are working towards a goal. If you keep plugging along and working towards that goal of getting the good guys to come in, and sometimes people buy them. I never have bought them, but they're going to show up eventually. Plant flowers. Plant flowers. I can't say it enough. Plant all different kinds of flowers. So the bad guys this year have been slugs. Okay, maybe not so much right now, but the slugs have shown up because we had a very rainy early summer. And so I am a big fan of just using beer in little like tuna cans in the garden and letting them come in, and man does it work. Now I taught my granddaughter this year how to help me to catch the slugs, and that was fun for both of us. Yeah, it was still, it's a lesson. It's a lesson for both of us on how the garden works. Now, who are the ones that eat the slugs? Well, I have a very healthy fear of snakes. I really do. Even right now, I'm sitting here and I keep looking over there because I guess baby snakes must have hatched in the grass. I'm like, whose idea was it to sit on the ground? It was my idea to sit on the ground. So now I know snakes are good for the garden. I know. This part of my brain knows that snakes are good for my garden, and this side of my brain is like, a snake. Every single time. I'm going to scream every single time, and then I scream just a snake, just in case anybody heard me and doesn't come running. But so yeah, some baby snakes hatched, and I've seen one go that way and one go that way. So snakes are your friend. They're a friend to the garden. Let them be there. Let them do the work for you, even if they are not your best friends. I'm talking about the garter snakes, okay? The gardener snakes. They are there to do the work. Toads are going to eat the slugs, so leaving some areas for your toad friends, some kind of like brushier areas, and even tree frogs are going to go ahead and eat slugs. So they are going to help you in control, but the beer, it works like a charm. Beer and hand picking and throwing in, I mean, everyone's going to have a hobby. Mine is, picking bugs and... So aphids, and I'm mentioning all of these, not all of these are like really big problems on my list. Aphids really are here, but I have ladybugs, lots and lots of ladybugs that showed up, and they do a great job of eating and controlling the aphids. So I really don't have any problem with aphids, but they are they are fierce little warriors. So squash bugs are a problem. They are a problem all the time. Now, you might be saying, Heather, I don't have time to do what you do when you hand pick them and throw them into the dish, because I keep dishes of water and a little bit of soap in places in the garden. I find the squash bug and I chuck them. You can chuck them real fast. You can pick them up and chuck them real fast, and they're not going to come out. Heather, you don't have a job. This is what you do. I know. My sister does have a job, okay? And that's part of her evening routine, where she goes out and she picks the bad bugs, throws them into the dish, and it helps her to observe the garden at the same time and kind of keep the population under control. Now, who is going to eat the before I tell you who's going to eat the squash bugs. So there's a way to flush them out. You can take your hose, put it on low, and put it by the base of the plants that you know they're plaguing, the cucumbers, the zucchini, any of the squash, and they don't like, you can flush them out. It makes them easier to pick. They're going to go to higher ground. They don't like it when it's wet, so you can pick them and throw them in the dish. Now, who is going to eat the squash bugs? Well, I know the praying mantis are going to eat the squash bugs, and I have a very large population of praying mantis in my garden, and I love them. They eat a lot of different bugs. So they will go after the squash bugs. The spiders will go after the squash bugs as well. I've seen birds eat them. You want to bring all of the different diverse critters in, and you're going to observe and see who is going to eat who. Plant flowers. Mexican bean beetles, they are little jerks. I cannot stand them. They look like ladybugs, but they're not ladybugs. They are orange. They have larger spots on them. They have 2 cycles of their life that plague me. And again, I handpick the beetles. If I see the eggs, I'll squash the eggs on the backs of the leaves. And birds are a great thing. And I'm going to talk about the good guys more in depth right after this. But so Mexican bean beetles are there. They're going to go after your beans, after your cucumbers, after your squash. The larvae stage is just as destructive. They look like little fuzzy, I don't know, worms, I guess. So yeah, Mexican bean beetles, again, hand picking keeps them under control. But again, bringing in the praying mantis, the birds, to do the work for you is always a great thing. Let's talk about the squash vine borer. Oh, I just cannot stand those things. The squash vine borer is stealthy, okay? He's a moth, comes out during the day. I've tried to hit him with one of those rackets when I see them, you know, the ones that are electric, like the tennis rackets, yeah. When your squash and zucchini are dead, all of a sudden, and I'm going to show you, I have actually an example in the garden that I'm going to show you, but I cut them open and I make sure I get every single larvae out. If my zucchini is dead or whatever, I will take a knife to the stem and pull out the little critters, and I will feed them to the chickens. They overnight, but you can stop the life cycle by I shouldn't say stop. You can affect the life cycle by pulling them out of the zucchini and stopping them from going to the next phase of life, which is to lay more eggs in your next zucchini. I always have up and coming zucchini and squash, and I do have some coming up. And I usually am able to keep it under control. All right, and that's the goal, to keep it under control. All right, so what is eating my basil and my dahlias and my leaves? What is skeletonizing all those leaves? June bugs, those brown beetles that are soft-bodied. How do I know they're soft? Squish, because I will get you. They live in the soil during the day or around the base of the plant, and they do so much destruction. They're called June bugs, but it's July. I mean, give it up, people. Bugs. Yeah, they're still here. I think they're almost done. They have another beetle that looks very similar to them that is beige in color with some black on them that do the same kind of damage. I have a solution for you. I'm going to show you in a little bit. Should I tell you right now? It's called the yellow bowl method. Okay, they are very attracted to the yellow bowl, and if you have a plant that is being affected by them, that is the best thing that you can do, is to put the yellow bowl with some water and some dish soap, and I will show you, because it really does work. If you find them, you can hand pick them, but usually you can't find them during the day. You can go out at night. I've seen them on my screens at night. Oh, an army of them. They are out to get us. They really are. Again, there's ways to control them. The tomato hornworm. Okay, so I'm not a farmer, I am a home gardener. All right, so this is what works for me. If there is a tomato hornworm on my tomatoes, and they're very stealthy as well, they take small bites from when you don't see them when they're small, and when they get big, they don't care if you see them. They're out in broad daylight and just chomping down on that tomato. Those things drive me crazy. But if they've got the white pouches on them, they're gonna live. You get to live. Because your time is almost up, and there is a circle of life. Everything we're working on creating that circle of life in your garden, on your property, to fulfill the life cycle and keep things here. You want to keep them here, so they have to constantly have a food source, all right? You're never going to eliminate them, because if you did now, you'd have an imbalance again, right? Okay, so it's the braconid, I don't know how to say it, but there's a wasp that lays the little eggs inside, and then the pouches are, I don't know how the whole thing works. All I know is it does. And years ago I read that wasp plays a role in the striped cucumber beetle, and I don't have hard facts on that, but they do. Those are beneficial wasps, and we want them in the garden. So if you can, have like an extra tomato plant where you can put them, or if you see it with white sacks, and I'm going to show you a real one in the garden right now, 2. I think I have 2 right now. Let them just finish, okay, because it's just a matter of days. So the striped cucumber beetle is, gosh, those things. Again, one of the answers for the striped cucumber beetle is the yellow bowl method. They are very attracted to that yellow bowl, and you put them under the plants where you've got the striped cucumber beetles. I will hand pick them, I will chase them, I will find them, I will get them. Yeah, I'm a hunter. So they win a lot around here. They do. So if you have suggestions for me, please leave me a comment below on the striped cucumber beetles. And at any time, if I've not completed my thought, because squirrel, and I go off on a tangent, please ask me, because this is something I am very passionate about. And if I can help anybody have an easier time in their garden while creating like an ecosystem, I would love to do that. So ask me a question if I have not answered that here. So striped cucumber beetles, yellow bowl method is going to work, and I keep mentioning it, and I'm going to show it to you. They jump into it and they don't jump out, but I do hand pick them as well. So I talked about the June bugs. I did not talk about Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles are not a real problem in my garden. We do use milky spore on our grass areas, and I think that helps to control it. But you know what I do have this year? I've got these huge, they're called June beetles. Okay, not the June bugs, not the little brown bugs, but they're June beetles, and they're these huge things, so I'm not sure what to do with them yet. And when I say hand pick, all of the things that I hand pick are really easy to hand pick. They don't grab onto you when you're like picking them. But these June bugs, oh my word, no, not June bugs, June beetles, they've got these barbed little feet, and they try to grab you. And so, that's a new thing for us this year, and there are a lot of them in the garden. So let's talk about cabbage moth worms, okay? And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, as far as, so I don't use pesticides, I don't use poisons, I don't use chemical fertilizer, because listen, if you're gonna pour, this is a strong statement from me, and I usually pick the middle road. Are you gonna pour that on your cereal in the morning, or stir it into your coffee? Oh, yeah, just stop it. My goal is good health. I hope your goal is good health as well. So these things that I'm talking about today hopefully will help you to not use those things. And so with the exception, I do use some organic controls, but very, very, very seldom. And I will use BT probably only twice in a season on the cabbage moth worms, and I will use it when I know that there are no monarch caterpillars. If you watch my channel, you know I raise monarch butterflies many a year, so BT is going to affect them just as it's going to affect the cabbage moth worm that's on your cabbage and your kale and all that stuff. But if they get the upper hand, then I'm going to go ahead and just do it one time, and it'll kind of take out a generation and give me time to regroup. I also will use an organic insecticidal soap in the house or in the greenhouse, because I've got that closed system, and very, very seldom do I need to use it. So I do use those two things. So I just want to be upfront and honest with you on that. Cabbage moth worms have a natural enemy that is a real jerk, okay? Wasps, okay? But the wasp will come in, and every day over my cabbages, they're going in and out, and they're looking for those worms, and they will take and carry them away. They eat caterpillars. They'll eat other things as well if you let them. We're going to talk about them. Are we talking about them yet? No, not yet. So hand smushing the cabbage moth worms is an option, but like I said, if it gets out of control, I will use a little bit of BT, Bacillus thunder. I'll put it up on the screen right there for you so you can see. It's a bacteria that they consume, and poof, and then they're gone. So now let's talk about the good guys in the garden, and I have talked about them a little bit so far, but they are fierce hunters, and praying mantis are at the top of my list, and I know that they are not the native praying mantis, but they still do an excellent job in the garden. Now, do they know the difference between a cabbage moth worm and a monarch caterpillar? They do not know the difference, and sometimes you have to look away. So they will just go after beetles and moths and butterflies and caterpillars, and they are fierce hunters. But I have seen some pretty incredible things. They hang out with me in the fall in the greenhouse. They'll lay eggs in there, and I welcome them in my garden for sure. We live on a pond. Dragonflies. Dragonflies are everywhere. Dragonflies are fierce little hunters that will eat a ton of mosquitoes. I have seen them eat a lot of other things as well, but they have an appetite, and they're fun to watch, and the flowers will help to bring them in as well. So you know, they complete their life for sure right here. Spiders. Oh, okay, so I have seen spiders. I take pictures of the spiders. There are a lot of spiders here. Is there one on me right now? Okay, so spiders, I have seen them eat squash bugs. Oh, here's a robber fly on me right now. I have seen them eat squash bugs. I have seen them eat just about everything that they can get in the garden. They have a role, okay? So we need to let them have their role and let them be. But I have seen spiders. So let's talk about wasps. Okay, and when I say wasps, I usually use the term beneficial wasps and like the little jerks that live in the ground that wait for you to walk and then come out and sting you. They're all actually beneficial wasps. They all play a role. Now, safety is first, especially for children, so I pay attention. If there's a ground bee's nest, we're gonna have to take care of that. But a lot of times, if it's someplace in a garden, I will just tell the kids where that ground bee's nest is, and eventually something is going to come and take care of that nest anyway and dig it out and eat everything that was in there, whether it's skunks or possums. I don't know who is doing that, but somebody's doing that. I just had a paper wasp nest that was hanging low. I had something just eat the entire thing and just leave the skeleton. So wasps, the yellow jackets and the other, the brown wasps are going to eat the larvae of the Mexican bean beetle. I have seen them do that. I have seen them eat the cabbage moth worms. They are going to do the work for you as long as they are not a threat to you and your family. I get it, people are allergic, but you got to let them at some point do the work. And we have what I call the beneficial wasps, the thread-waisted ones, the longer wasps, and they will come and eat the spiders. Everything's got something that wants to eat them, okay? The old lady that swallowed a fly, I don't know why I send in the spider, send in the bird. Yeah, you just keep sending everybody in, and that's what you want in your garden. You want everybody to come in so they can do their job. I like to watch those beneficial wasps. They are great pollinators, and yeah, they are fierce hunters as well. Beetles, worms, and caterpillars. Robber flies are creepy. We have a lot of them. I've seen them catch flies in midair and eat them. I welcome them in the garden. Sometimes they fall for the yellow bowl method, and so you're not going to win. It's not selective when you're using these methods on what's going to die, and that's just part of the ecosystem of the garden. The last thing I want to talk about are birds. Birds are so important to my garden. I have the cattle panel tunnel And they will sit there every day and they will be looking down, and they're going to get the cabbage moth worms, they're going to get the aphids, they are hunting for things. Oh, but Heather, they're going to eat my blueberries. Yes, they eat the blueberries, they eat the gooseberries, they eat the cherries, they eat all of these things. It is a system, okay? We have to feed, we have to keep everybody happy, we have to give a little to get a little, and that is what makes the garden work. So I think I've hit the main good guys and bad guys that are in my garden. And again, if you have a question on something specific, I probably have just forgotten to mention it. We are going to go in the garden right now, and we're going to look at the yellow bowl method, and we're going to look at zucchini that just gave up the ghost. We're going to cut it open and see what's inside. All right, so this is my vegetable garden, and I have tomatoes growing on this side, cherry tomatoes mostly, and on this side I have new cucumbers. So one of the things that I did not mention is you can also stall a crop, plant it later, and you can kind of bypass some of the life cycle of certain pests, and so that is why my cucumbers are so short, and I do not have. My sister has had cucumbers for a while now, and I will not have cucumbers for a little bit. But that's how I bypass bad critters. And also zucchini rampicante gets planted a lot later here for me as well. So down below here, and I know that striped cucumber beetles and Mexican bean beetles are going to attack these. So I've got the yellow bowl ready to go. There's a little dish soap in the yellow bowl. I don't know why the bugs are, well, I do know why. The bugs are attracted to the yellow bowl. They are, because maybe because flowers are yellow. But you can see the brown beetles that are in there. So we don't have a lot of damage on these plants yet, or a lot of critters coming, but I am going to get more yellow bowls and put them underneath just to be proactive. And here is another, you can see that there have been some Mexican bean beetles that when I do find them, I will throw them in, the ones that don't fall. You can also see in my bowl that those really large beetles I were telling you about, they will go in there on their own. They are pretty destructive. And so there is the zucchini that we're going to cut open in just a little bit. These two I grew specifically for seed. I got a lot of zucchinis off of both of them, and I still have some in the refrigerator inside that'll get us through probably another couple of weeks. But yeah, so I have a large zucchini that is for seed. I think there's 2 of them in here. But we're going to look at this in just a minute, but I want to show you another area where the brown, no. This is my bowl that I will pick. I'll pick the beetles and I'll chuck them in there really quick, and I just leave that there, and I'll empty it out a couple times during the season. But hand picking is not glamorous, but you know, that's okay. Everyone's got to have a hobby. But I want to show you the dahlias take a big hit from those brown June bugs. Look, that's all those disgusting June bugs in there. They just jump right in there. Yuck. All right, so I have all my tools here before I start, because I'm going to do a super good job of cleaning all this up, all of the leaves, all of the debris. I've got my scissors, tweezers, and a knife, and a wheelbarrow to carry everything away. And hopefully the chickens will get anything that I don't smush as we go about this. I'm going to remove even the plant that is for seed, even though it still looks like that. It really doesn't have a chance, because I will get down in here. And this is a mess. I'm being real with you right now. This is ash that I put on a little bit too late. Sometimes I will use aluminum foil to deter the squash vine borer. I did not do that, and life was busy. I put that on after, but you can see the frass, or whatever you want to call it, you know, from the squash vine borer there, or the hole. And so we're gonna look at that. There's definitely Mexican bean beetle larvae in here. Yeah, we have a lot going on, and I know that there are squash bugs as well. So hopefully I'll see them. If not, I'll just do a really good job cleaning up. So I think I'm gonna shoot over my shoulder so I can show you. We're gonna look for the squash vine borer worm. And I'm just gonna get rid of a lot of these horseradish leaves so that we can see. Now the horseradish is a great trap crop, and I did not discuss that at all. There are always going to be crops that I will sacrifice to something to keep them in one area and out of others. And we got snails and slugs love horseradish. I also love horseradish. Oh, the snails you can throw in that bowl. I'm gonna chuck them. All right, see how easily that just ripped out of the ground like that? Oh yeah, okay. So even though there's green leaves on the front of it, it doesn't have a chance. I should not have let it get this far, but I knew I wanted to show you guys. All right, let me open this part up. Oh, okay. Can you see? Can you see him? Where's my tweezers? Oh, gross thing. Oh. Can you see them? There are multiples. So you're not going to find them in the part that's already been rotted. You're going to find them in the living green tissues because they just move through the plant. They're moving towards the green ones. So yeah, I'm gonna throw them in the water today. Usually I will feed them to the chicken because these are apparently tasty. And I actually will not just let my chickens try to, oh, that's part of one. I guess I cut him in half. I won't let the chickens just take care of this for me. I will make sure that I get them out because I don't want them to finish their life cycle. Oh, hello. Yes, I got you. Okay. Yep. So I will dig the rest of these out. Blech. All different size, okay? So yeah, we're not just big giant ones. I'm just gonna smush those. If you're squeamish, I would like to say that I apologize, but gross. Yeah. The glamorous life of the organic gardener. And before we move on, I just want to show you the eggs on here, Mexican bean beetle eggs. They are soft. That's how you know it's them. Oh, and there's actually a lot that have been hatched here. So this is the second zucchini. These are for seed. I will bring them someplace safe because we're probably looking at a couple of years of seed for plants that I sell of these. I see some Mexican bean beetle larvae trying to get away. You can run, but you cannot hide. Well, I mean, you probably can hide, but not today. And I know there's always guilt when you're pulling up a plant that still has potential. Squash bug. But this needs to be done because we're going to be planting new. So let's see how easily this comes up. Yeah, this one was still hanging on a little bit. Scalpel. Ugh, you're so gross. Why you gotta be so gross? Yeah, this one's like, hello, is it morning? Yes, it's morning. Ugh, gross, you're gross, you're gross. And there's a big giant one. Ugh, gross. Oh, you need to go in the bucket. Yeah. Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. Do you see them? Can you see them? Oh, ugh, gross. So, honey, what'd you do today? Oh, nothing. I did nothing today. Ugh, gross. Save the world. That's what I did today. Save the world. Did I mention how humid it is right here? We're in the middle of a heat wave. No? Okay, I look like it though. I'm sure I do. Okay, so that is it for today, my friends. And I am hoping that I have encouraged some of you out there to try the organic ways of gardening and bringing all the critters into your yard, all the diverse things, all the good and the bad. You got to have some bad with the good all the time because everybody needs to eat, right? Thumbs up if you enjoyed spending time with me today, and leave me any questions below. I would love to hear. I would love a discussion. Let's talk about it. And plant flowers. Plant lots of flowers, okay? Subscribe so you don't miss out on the next adventure in gardening. See you soon.